I'm honored to be back in the heart of Georgia with the truly incredible organization, Black Voices for Trump, and we appreciate it. In 39 days, we're going to win 4 more years in the White House, and we will do it with a record number of votes from the Black community. We have no doubt. That's all happening. That's all happening. We're getting a lot of, see the people back there, they're saying, what's going on over here? They're not happy about it, but that's okay. Our movement is welcoming millions of Black Americans back to the Republican Party, the party of Frederick Douglass and Abraham Lincoln. When I ran for president 4 years ago, I looked at the dismal and shameful record of the Democrat Party and asked Black Americans, what the hell do you have to lose, right? And they all said, you shouldn't use the word hell, but I said, it's just more descriptive. Doesn't work as well without it. Today, I want to share what you have to gain from voting Republican on November 3rd. Will be the biggest election of our lives. For decades, Democrat politicians like Joe Biden have taken Black voters for granted. They made you big promises before every election, and then the moment they got to Washington, they abandoned you and they sold you out. The Democrat Party used you and they lied to you every single time. You know it better than anybody else knows it. The Democrats will always take back the vote. What they want to do is they'll take that vote back. They want to take the Black voter for granted, and they have taken the Black voter for granted. And it's not fair, it's not right, and it's not going to happen because we're going to have such a victory like you've never had before. In 2016, thank you. In 2016, I made you a solemn pledge that whether you voted for me or not, I would be your greatest champion. Since that time, I've delivered even more than I promised. It's one of those things. Few politicians do that, but I believe we have. Before the China virus, we built the greatest economy for African Americans in the history of our country, and we are doing it again. In the first 3 years, we achieved the lowest Black unemployment rate in history. The Black youth unemployment rate reached an all-time low. We achieved the largest job gains for African Americans on record. Black Americans saw the largest increase in home ownership. The poverty rate for African Americans reached the lowest level ever recorded. And last year, 811,000 African Americans were lifted out of poverty, the most in over 51 years. In my first 3 years, we lifted 6.6 million people out of poverty, the largest poverty reduction of any president in the history of our country. I did more for the Black community in 47 months. I saw they used that line, so I don't want to ruin it by saying it a second time. It was in the video, but I will say it again. Than Joe Biden did in 47 years. And I'm here today to announce a brand new plan to deliver more opportunity, more security, more fairness, and more prosperity to Black communities. We call it the Platinum Plan. Platinum Plan. And that's a contract with Black Americans, and it's going to be something that people talk about for a long time to come. If you vote Republican over the next 4 years, we will create 3 million new jobs for the Black community, open 500,000 new Black-owned businesses, increase access to capital in Black communities by $500 billion. And this includes investing in community development, financial institutions, and minority depository institutions. build up peaceful and safer urban neighborhoods with the highest standards of, and you know this, of policing. We want the highest standards. We have to have highest standards of policing. Bring even greater fairness to the justice system. We did criminal justice reform. We remember that. Even greater, we will create a national clemency project to right wrongful prosecutions and to pardon individuals who have reformed their life. You saw Alice, right? We love Alice. She had another 24 years to go. Can you believe it? She served 22 years. She had another 24 years to go. It was ridiculous. And she is a great woman. Create a ladder of opportunity for African American children by delivering school choice to every parent in America. So important. Give black churches the ability to compete for federal resources for their communities. Bring better and tailored health care to address the historic disparities that we've had for so many years. You know that. This includes investing in treatments for kidney disease, diabetes, high blood pressure, sickle cell disease, and maternal mortality. Advance home ownership and wealth building in the black community. Bring more manufacturing back to the USA, which we're doing anyway, and back to the inner cities, which have been largely forgotten, although not so much in the last 3 years when you get right down to it. Thank you. End Democrat policies that import low-wage foreign workers from overseas to replace black workers in our inner cities. Joe Biden cares more about the citizens of foreign countries than he does about black Americans living in our own country. I will always put Americans first, and that includes, very, very importantly, black Americans. And there's much more in our plan, which we're releasing today, so we'll get everyone a copy, and it's actually been very well received, and we appreciate that. The Platinum Plan is a bold vision that we can and really will achieve over the next 4 years, and we'll be able to do it, if not sooner. Unlike my opponent, I'm not a career politician, thank goodness. I get results, and I keep my promise, and you've seen that. You've seen that. Together, we will not only build up America's black communities, we'll help with your vote, with the Platinum Plan, we'll lift up all forgotten communities, and we'll strengthen our entire nation. And we are going to have an incredible 4 years, but more importantly, we're going to have an incredible 40 years. We're going to have many, many great years because we're setting a foundation for the future. So when I'm not here, you're going to be here forever, especially look at these young people over here. You're going to really be there for a long time, but we want this for long term. This year, the Republican Party has 26 black Republicans running for Congress. Where are they? Are they here? Are they here? A lot of them are here, right? Whoa. That's a good-looking group of people. And you're doing well. Just about in every instance. Well, we're going to help you to do even better. We'll be helping you. You watch. And we're thrilled to be joined today by 8 of them. Raise your hand. Which are the 8? Oh, that's so great. Yeah. They have what it takes. That's great. That's fantastic. Great job. One of them I've endorsed very strongly. I saw an ad that I liked. I thought it was great. Raise your hand, please. What a great. They've been now endorsed, I will tell you. And congratulations, by the way. It's going to be a fantastic night, November 3rd. Now, I don't know, with this ballot situation, it's you're not going to see it. November 3rd, the Democrats are playing games. You see that? You see they found ballots in a waste paper basket. They found ballots dumped in a stream. Take a look at Iowa, the primaries. You remember the primary? They went to Iowa. We love Iowa, but they tried this ballot concept, and they still don't know who won. That was a long time ago. That was in their primary, the first primary. And it's a very terrible thing that's happening, very, very terrible thing. But you're going to be raising the hand, if not November 3rd, hopefully shortly thereafter. Now, I know you're going to be raising your hand. With me, we may end up in a dispute for a long time because that's the way they want it. But we're going to end up winning, that's for sure, okay? We're going to end up winning. When I give my State of the Union address next year, I look forward to welcoming a historic number of black Republican members of Congress, and we're going to take back the House. We're going to take back the House. You know, we've already won some seats back. They don't like to talk about that. The fake news. You'll find out about the fake news. Have you figured out the fake news yet? You're young and handsome and beautiful. Have you figured out the fake news yet? You'll learn. You'll learn. You'll learn to live with it. You'll learn to do what you have to do. But we are going to take back the House. I think we're only 17 short now. We picked up a couple. We just won a big one in Los Angeles. We haven't won in 22 years. California. Won a big one in Wisconsin. It was a great one. We won some really good ones. So we're inching up, and you watch what's going to happen. It's going to be a very big night for the House. It's going to be a really retired Pelosi. That's not a bad idea. That's going to be great. Congratulations, all. That's already a great achievement. It really is. It's already. But together we'll fulfill our contract with Black America, and we'll pass the Platinum Plan into law, and we'll do it quickly and easily. We're also joined by a great friend of mine, Dr. Ben Carson. Where's Ben? Ben, I love Ben. Special man. He's doing a great job, too. He's been my friend from the beginning. Can I tell the one story, Ben? He came up to me he was campaigning. He was the toughest one. I mean, to tell you what, we had some really tough ones. You know, a lot of them like to try and say they were tough, but they weren't, like Kasich. He only had one thing. He wouldn't leave the race. He'd get -1. He's going on to the next one. This guy did great. He was incredible. And he came up to me during the race, and he was doing well. He said, "You know that you're going to win, don't you?" I said, "Excuse me?" He said, "You know you're going to win." He was doing great. And he was really like in second and third and fourth and back to second. I mean, he was right up there. He was great. I said, we got to get this guy out of here. But he came up to me, he did, and he said, "You're going to win." And I'll let him tell you the rest of the story if he'd like to do it sometime. But he gave a very specific reason, and I will never forget what he said. But he said, "You know you're going to win, don't you?" And I just thought it was really nice, and you know what I'm talking about, Ben. So Ben Carson, what a job he's done, too. Respected by everybody. Thank you, Ben. And a man who ran in the primary, who I got a call from another great man, David Perdue. He said, "Could you do us a favor? There's a guy named Brian Kemp, and he's running in a tough primary. He's got a tough opponent. And do you think you could maybe endorse him?" I love David Perdue. I said, "Who is he? I don't know him," okay? And he said, "Well, he's been for you." I said, "Well, I've heard that before. I better be careful." And we did a little, where's Brian? Where's Brian? Right over here, Brian. So we did a little research. And he was for me all the way. And I said, "That's good." You know, the worst thing is when you're endorsing people that say bad things, right? He only said good. And I got to know him, and I got to know his wife, Marty, and I said, absolutely, and we endorsed him, and he won that primary so easily. He won so easily. And they're still trying to figure out what happened in the race. I've been watching. You know what? It wasn't that close. He won by, like, a lot, actually. You know, he didn't win by 15 votes. He won by a lot. How many votes was that? That was a lot. Well, we won't call it a landslide, but it wasn't very close, you know. How many votes was that, Brian? It was a lot. 51. To me, you know what that is? It's Yankee Stadium for a World Series. Oh. You know, people would say, "Oh, that was tight." I don't think, like I heard I won Michigan by 12,000. I said, that's an almost full Madison Square Garden, you know? Not quite full, but that's Yankee Stadium for the World Series. I think that's a lot. We look at it differently. But I do want to introduce also David Perdue, who he is really an incredible guy, and he loves everybody in this room. Where's David? David, please stand up. Is that right? Did you make that call? Well, you made that call. He made that call, and that was a good call because your governor's doing a great job and David's doing a great job, and I hope you can support David and Brian and all of them. They're incredible people. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, David, for everything. Thanks also to Oklahoma's first black Speaker of the House, T.W. Shannon. Where's T.W.? Oh, I like that. I want to do that. I want to do that. Thank you, T.W. Great reputation. Thank you very much. And a friend of mine who, my children, you know, they'll always be children. They may be a little older than children, but they're always my children. They love her, Lynn Patton. Lynn, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Lynn. Thank you. And if you're a UFC fan, anybody like UFC? It's, I'll tell you what, that's right, Usman. He goes, Usman. He's, I know who he is. He's tough, that's who he is. Kamaru Usman, where is our champ? Come on, champ, get up. Man, oh man, oh man. What a fighter you are. I don't want to mess with him. I may weigh a couple of pounds more. Do you think I could take you in a fight, champ? I don't think so. He goes, no. I think you're right, champ. But I watched a fight you had a couple of months ago, unbelievable, and talent, but right up here too, you know? It's a combination. The muscles are important, but you gotta have the other. You gotta have the, you know, he actually looks very good in a suit, but he's one of the few people who look better without a suit. There aren't too many of us, hey, there aren't too many of us that can say that, right? Right, men? The men in this audience, huh? But I just want to thank you, champ, and good luck. I'll be watching. You have a big fight coming up, and I'll be watching, and it's a great group of people, great group of champions. Thank you very much. Thank you. Another great fighter, Ali Abdelaziz, who is tough. Where is he? There he is. Oh, you're tough. You're so tough, the two of you guys. I'd like to see you both fight, but there's a little weight difference, I guess, right? You probably think you could take him, right? But what is the difference in weight? What is it? 20? 10? I know. What is it, though? And how, were you a fighter at one time? And how good, you pretty good? Not good as him? Nobody else is either, so, you know, that's easy. Yeah, you were a good fighter. Also, Atlanta's top hip-hop producer, Polo, do you know, where is he? Where is he? The Don. You know, Don King used to call me the Don, right? He still does, actually. But you didn't get it from Don King, I know that, right? Nice to see you. Great to have you. Great to have you. Thank you very much. Do we have another UFC fighter here? Because I had heard yes, because I know we had somebody else go. I just don't want to skip it in case we do. I have a lot of respect for them. Anybody gets in a ring and does that and comes out winning, to me, I have a lot of respect. And when you become the champ, I want to tell you, it's that's a hell of a thing. That's what you live for, the belt, right? The money or the belt? You know what? If you get the belt, the money comes, right? So, great going, champ. Fantastic. Over the last 50 years, black Americans have mostly voted Democrat, but every day more black Americans are deciding that the old way is not working. 5 decades of evidence prove that Democrat politicians do not care about the black community. They only care about power for themselves, whatever that means. My opponent is offering black Americans nothing but the same old, tired, empty slogans. By the way, he's staying in again today. The guy. Hey, champ, if I lose to a guy that's like you losing to a fighter that, you know, hasn't worked out in the last 6 months. This guy never goes out. It's terrible, huh? Oh, you better make sure I win. I'm going to be very embarrassed. I lost to a guy that didn't campaign. You know why he's not campaigning? I guess it's an energy factor. So what the hell is going on? If I lose to a man that doesn't campaign, no, he's announced every day, he announced we're going to stay in today. I don't know. Hey, I can't tell you. But the Democrats are angry at him. They say, you can't do that. You know, I just left Florida, and from here I'm going to Washington, then I'm going to Virginia, then I'm going to someplace else and someplace else. By the way, I see Kelly and I see Collins back there. Will you please stand up? Okay, please. Please. Those are two champions. So, they had their names in there, but they took them out. You know why? Because they probably want to not mention them together. They're going to end up liking each other. You watch. And they're two great people. I'm not going to skip them over. They thought it would be diplomatic. That's not diplomatic. That's stupid, right? But I stand here to offer solutions. I want to congratulate you both, really fighting a good fight. I want to say that. Both of you, Doug, Kelly, really great. It's amazing. Well, I sort of like it. You know why? They're going to be in there fighting. Don't anybody get out. They're going to get, and it goes, and everybody's going to come with them. And the only thing I know for sure, they're all going to vote for me. Both of them. So, Brian, don't let them get out. Don't let anybody get out. Let them. That's going to be a fight. But everyone's going for both of them. Huh? Okay, it's going to be, hey, we don't have long to go either. We don't have long to go. November 3rd. I've spent the last 4 years reversing the horrible damage Joe Biden inflicted on the black community over 47 years. 47 years. He always says, oh, I should have done this. I said, you've been there for 47 years, It's always great when they tell you what you should be doing and they haven't done it themselves. And, it's not like it was 25 years ago that he left. He was there 3.5 years ago, right? So, it's one of those things. No one in Washington politics today has done more to hurt black Americans than Joe Biden. It's true. For half a century, Joe's personally advocated or enacted virtually every policy that has caused pain and suffering in the black community. You know that. Joe Biden shipped millions of your best jobs overseas, hollowed out the black middle class, and with open borders, trapped children in failing government schools, sent young men to fight in endless wars. They just never end. They're coming back home. You see that. They're coming back home. Many are already back. While our inner cities crumbled at home and made cities less safe and less secure, Joe Biden should not be demanding your support. He should be begging for your forgiveness. He really should be. My opponent drafted the 1994 disaster, the 1994 crime bill, which caused unfair sentencing disparities that devastated black families. And I mean, just devastated. I have heard more about the 1994, and when we did criminal justice reform, it was largely about erasing that terrible act. That was his deal. I rolled back the unfair provisions of the 1994 Biden crime bill, and I signed it into groundbreaking criminal justice reform, which people are so happy about. Even my enemies are saying thank you for that. Today, we're glad to be joined by the first person to be released under the First Step Act, who I was honored to have as my guest at the State of the Union, a really wonderful man, Matthew Charles. Where's Matthew? Where's Matthew? Where's Matthew? What a good man. What a smile. I looked at that smile from the podium downstairs. I was surrounded by all those killer politicians. And I looked at Matthew, who's the nicest looking guy in the house. Thank you, Matthew. You're doing well, Matthew, right? That's great, Matthew. You deserve what you got. You deserve it. Biden supported the twin disasters of NAFTA and China's entry into the World Trade Organization, which eliminated 1 in 4 manufacturing jobs held by black Americans. You know that. Joe Biden's globalist agenda closed down factories in Baltimore and sent them. Just see what happened. All these factories, all these jobs, all these factories, sent them to Beijing. He shuttered the plants in Michigan, and he sent them to Mexico. I replaced NAFTA, one of the worst trade deals, one of the worst, stupidest deals I've ever seen in my life, with the new U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement, creating hundreds of thousands of new jobs. That was one they said could not be done, David, right? They said it couldn't be done. David Perdue, they said that one couldn't be done, right, David? And we got it done in pretty quick time, too. To revitalize neglected communities, we created nearly 9,000 opportunity zones with Tim Scott, South Carolina. You know Tim Scott? Tim Scott is great. Senator Tim Scott from South Carolina came to my office, came to the Oval Office, and he had this idea, and I said, that sounds good. And we got it done, and people were surprised that we could even get it done, and it has turned out to be incredible. $75 billion of investment have poured into these neighborhoods, which will create an estimated 500,000 jobs and lift 1 million Americans out of poverty. When the China virus struck, we raced to ensure that Black Americans had the medical care and the financial support that they needed.